Silent Cowboy took in a drifter with nitrogen monoxide name. Then he learned he was his twin brother. The drifter. The year is 1887. The Arizona desert stretches endlessly toward purple mountains as the sun begins its descent. A lone rider, Elias Crowe, guides his horse across the barren landscape. His weathered face, hidden beneath a dusty hat, shows 35 years of hard living. His eyes are hard as flint, but carry the weight of unseen sorrow. The wind whips across the empty plains, carrying dust and memories. Elias adjusts his hat, squinting against the dying light. His horse, a sturdy mare named Ruth, picks her way carefully through the rocky terrain. They've been riding since dawn, checking the furthest boundaries of his land, ensuring no cattle have strayed, no fences have fallen. The Crowe Ranch appears in the distance, a modest homestead with weathered wood, a small barn, and smoke trickling from a stone chimney. It's not much, but it's his. Built with his own hands over the years since he's been alone. Elias dismounts with precise, economical movements. He doesn't speak to his horse, but his gentle touch as he removes the saddle says everything about the man's hidden tenderness. "Good girl, Ruth," he murmurs, the words barely audible. It's more sound than he's made all day. He leads Ruth to the water trough and watches her drink deeply. His movements are routine, automatic and saddle, brush, check hooves, add feed. But his mind is elsewhere, as it often is at this time of day when the setting sun reminds him of another evening 20 years past. Inside the sparse ranch house, Elias goes through his evening ritual. He hangs his hat on the peg by the door and places his gun belt on the table within easy reach. The house is silent except for his footsteps on the wooden floor. One plate, one cup, and one chair pulled up to the table. The loneliness of the thigh scene is stark. He heats beans over the stove and cuts a thick slice of bread. As he eats in silence, his eyes drift inevitably to the mantel. There, in a simple wooden frame, is an old photograph, two young boys with identical faces, arms thrown around each other's shoulders, grinning at the camera with the fearlessness of youth. The boys are perhaps 15, on the cusp of manhood, unaware that their time together is running out. Elias stares at the photograph longer than usual tonight. Maybe it's the anniversary approaching 20 years since the fire. Maybe it's just the weight of another day survived alone. He reaches for the photo, traces the face of his twin with a calloused thumb. "Silas," he whispers to the empty room. The name hangs in the air like a prayer or a curse. That night, sleep comes hard. Elias tosses in his narrow bed, dreams plagued by smoke and screams. He wakes before dawn, as always, sweat cooling on his skin despite the desert chill. Another day to face. Another day to survive. The next morning finds Elias repairing a broken fence near the canyon line. The sun climbs relentlessly, beating down on his back as he works. His hands move with practiced efficiency, pulling wire taut, hammering posts deeper into the hard earth. Yet his eyes constantly scan the horizon. It's an old habit, born of years living in lawless territory. Always watching, always wary, as if expecting trouble, or perhaps hoping for something he can't name. He pauses to drink from his canteen, the water warm but welcome. That's when he sees it movement on the dirt road below. At first he thinks it might be a coyote or a stray cow. But no, the movement is too deliberate, too human. A figure stumbles along the road, barely keeping upright. Even from this distance, Elias can see something's wrong. The person, a man, he thinks, weaves like a drunk, but there's something else. Pain in every movement, desperation. The man collapses to his knees, tries to rise and fails. He crawls forward a few feet before collapsing again. This time, he doesn't get up. Elias watches from his elevated position. Every instinct tells him to stay put. This isn't his problem. The road is public land. Someone else will come along. He survived this long by minding his own business, by not getting involved in other people's troubles. But the man isn't moving now. Face down in the dirt, still as death, Elias curses under his breath. He can't just watch a man die, not when he could help. It goes against something fundamental in him, some code written deep in his bones. He descends the rocky slope carefully, rifle in hand just in case this is some kind of trap. But as he gets closer, it's clear this is no ambush. The man is genuinely in bad shape, clothes torn and bloody, body covered in bruises, breathing shallow and labored. Elias kneels beside the unconscious man and rolls him over gently. The drifter's face is obscured by dirt and blood, but when his eyes flutter open briefly, Elias feels a jolt of something. Recognition? No, that's impossible. But those eyes piercing blue, filled with pain but also something else. Hope? Fear? Both? Easy, Elias says, surprising himself with the gentleness in his voice. You're safe now. The man's lips move, trying to form words, but no sound comes out. His eyes lock with Elias's for one more moment, a moment that seems to stretch into eternity, before rolling back. The man goes limp. Without really deciding to do it, Elias is already lifting the stranger. The man is lighter than he should be, bones too prominent under the torn shirt. How long has he been wandering? How far has he come? Elias manages to get the unconscious man onto roof. The horse snorts nervously at the smell of blood, but holds steady. Good girl. Elias leads them back to the ranch, every step feeling like a momentous decision he can't take back. In the barn, Elias lays the drifter on a bed of fresh straw. In the better light, he can see the extent of the damage. This isn't just exhaustion or exposure. Someone worked this man over good bruises in the shape of fists, cuts that look deliberate, and older scars that speak of long-term abuse. Elias heats water, gathers clean cloths, and what medical supplies he has. He's no doctor, but living alone in the wilderness teaches a man to tend his own wounds. He works methodically, cleaning cuts, checking for broken bones, and wrapping the worst of the injuries. The drifter drifts in and out of consciousness. Sometimes his eyes open, tracking Elias's movements with that strange intensity. But he never speaks, can't or won't, Elias isn't sure. As Elias works, he notices things. The man's hand scarred, yes, but with calluses in familiar places. The way he flinches at certain touches, as if expecting violence. The old burn scars. That web across his palms and up his wrists, burn scars. Elias's hands still for a moment. He pushes the thought away. Lots of people have burn scars. It doesn't mean anything. When he's done all he can, Elias offers water. The drifter drinks. Greedily, hands shaking so badly that Elias has to steady the cup. Their eyes meet again over the rim of the cup. This close, Elias can see the color clearly, the exact shade of blue he sees in his own mirror every morning. This time, Elias looks away first, disturbed by something he sees there, or something he's afraid to see. Rest, Elias says gruffly. Standing abruptly. Food in the morning. He turns to leave, but a hand scarred and trembling catches his sleeve. The touch is electric, familiar in a way that makes no sense. Elias freezes, memories threatening to surface. A ghost of the past whispers through his mind, another hand, smaller, unscarred, reaching out in the darkness of a shared bedroom. Don't let go, Elias. Promise you won't let go. But that was 20 years ago. That hand burned to ash. That person is gone. Elias pulls away gently but firmly and exits the barn, closing the door behind him with shaking hands. On the porch, Elias sits with his rifle across his lap, keeping watch. He tells himself it's for safety. The drifter could be dangerous, could have enemies following him. But really, he needs the distance. He needs the night air to clear his head of impossible thoughts. The moon is full, casting silver light across the desert. Everything looks different in moonlight, softer, more forgiving. Like the world of memory rather than harsh reality. He pulls the photograph from his pocket, the two boys. His thumb traces one face, then the other. They were so young, so unaware of what was coming. Just two kids who thought they'd have forever together. Silas. The name escapes his lips in a whisper, carried away by the wind. Thunder rumbles in the distance. A storm is coming, unusual for this time of year, but not unheard of. The air feels charged, electric, like something momentous is about to happen. Elias stays on the porch long into the night, standing guard over a stranger who feels anything but strange. When he finally goes inside, he leaves the barn door cracked open, just in case. Just so he can hear if what? If the man calls out, he can't speak. If he leaves, where would he go in his condition? If he dies, that thought sends Elias back outside, checking one more time. The drifter is sleeping, breath steady if labored, alive, present, real. Not a ghost, not a memory, just a man who needs help. Nothing more. Shadows and storms, dawn breaks gray and subdued. The promised storm still building on the horizon. Elias barely slept, and what sleep he found was restless, filled with dreams of fire and reaching hands. He makes coffee strong enough to strip paint, then prepares a simple breakfast bread, dried meat, and more coffee. In the barn, the drifter is awake, sitting up against the wall. In the morning light, with some of the dirt and blood cleaned away, his features are clearer. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, a nose that's been broken at least once. Familiar features that Elias refuses to fully acknowledge. "Morning," Elias says, setting down the food. "Are you hungry?" The drifter nods and reaches for the bread with those scarred hands. He eats slowly, carefully, like someone who's learned not to take food for granted. His eyes never leave Elias's face. "You got a name?" Elias asks, though he's not sure he wants to know the answer. The drifter's hand goes to his throat. He opens his mouth, tries to speak, but only a harsh rasp emerges. He shakes his head, frustrated. "Can't talk? A nod? Ever?" The drifter makes a gesture, fingers indicating something being cut or damaged. His meaning is clear. Someone did this to him. Elias feels anger rise in his chest. What kind of man takes another's voice? But he keeps his tone neutral. "Well, you're safe here. Rest up. Get your strength back. Then ... Then what? Send him on his way? The man can barely stand and has nowhere to go. The drifter must see the uncertainty in Elias's face. He points to himself, then makes a working motion, hands mimicking labor. "You want to work for your keep?" An emphatic nod. Elias considers he could use the help, truth be told. The ranch is too much for one man, though he's managed these 20 years. And something about the drifter. No, he's not going there. "All right, but you rest first. Get stronger, then we'll see." Days pass in a strange new rhythm. The drifter Elias can't keep thinking of him that way, but can't bring himself to give him another name. Heals faster than expected. Soon he's up and moving, insisting through gestures on helping with chores. And he's good. Really good. Knows his way around horses, can mend tack with clever fingers, and understands cattle. More than that, he seems to know the ranch. Finds tools without being shown where they're kept. Knows which boards in the barn floor creak and which stay. Silent. Stands at the fence line each evening, looking west, just as Elias does. Just as Silas used to do. No. Elias pushes the thought away each time it surfaces. Silas is dead. Has been for 20 years. This is just ... coincidence. Has to be, but the evidence keeps mounting. The way the drifter anticipates Elias's needs, handing him tools before he asks. The way he soothes Elias's spooked Mare with a touch and a soundless whisper, just like. The way he knows that Elias takes his coffee black with 1 sugar, even. though Elias never told him. One afternoon, they work side by side repairing the chicken coop. The drifter hands Elias nails at the exact moment he needs them and holds boards at just the right angle. They fall into a rhythm that feels as old as breathing, as natural as their own heartbeats. That's when Elias notices the scar on the drifter's shoulder. Just a glimpse as his shirt pulls aside, a star-shaped mark, old and faded. Elias's hammer misses the nail, catching his thumb instead. He curses, shaking his hand, and the drifter is there instantly, concern in those blue eyes. He reaches for Elias's injured hand, and Elias lets him look, lets those scarred fingers check for damage. The touch is gentle, careful, familiar. Elias pulls away. It's fine, just clumsy, but his mind is racing. That scar. Silas had one just like it, from when they were 7 and decided to brand themselves like the cattle to prove they were tough. Stupid kids. Their mother had tanned their hides, but good after she finished tending the wounds. It can't be. It can't be. That evening, as they eat their simple meal in the kitchen, the tension is thick enough to cut. The drifter keeps glancing at Elias, something like recognition or maybe hope in his eyes. Elias focuses on his food, but his appetite is gone. Finally, he can't stand it anymore. He looks up, meets those blue eyes straight on. You remind me of someone. Someone who died a long time ago. The drifter's hand goes to his throat, fingers tracing invisible scars. His mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Instead, he stands slowly and walks to the window. In the glass, their reflections stand side by side. Two faces so similar, they could be the same man at different moments in time. Or twins. The drifter turns back, and there are tears in his eyes now. He points to the photograph on the mantel, then to himself, then to Elias. No. Elias's voice is rough. No, that's not ... He's dead. My brother died in a fire 20 years ago. I saw the barn collapse. I searched the ashes. He's gone. The drifter shakes his head emphatically. He looks around, frustrated by his inability to speak, to explain. Then his eyes light on something. The Bible on the shelf. He grabs it, flips through pages until he finds what he's looking for. The story of Joseph. Sold by his brothers, thought. Dead, but alive in Egypt, reunited after years of separation. Elias's hands are trembling now. Silas, the drifter Silas, nods, tears flowing freely now. He touches his throat again, mimes writing. With shaking hands, Elias finds paper and a pencil. The drifter takes them, writes in unpracticed letters. Silas Crowe, taken, not dead. Found you at last. The pencil drops from nerveless fingers. Elias stares at the words, at the face so like his own, at the truth he's been refusing to see. How is all he can manage. Outside, the storm that's been building finally breaks. Thunder crashes overhead, shaking the windows, as if the weather itself recognizes the momentousness of this revelation. Silas writes frantically now, the story pouring out in broken fragments. Men watching ranch, waited for PA to leave, wanted, both of US. Fire started in fight. They took me, said you were dead too. Sold to mine, illegal operation, years of work. Tried to tell someone who I was. They crushed my throat. Escaped 2 years ago, been searching. Heard about silent cowboy named Crowe near Tombstone. Knew I'd had to be you. Afraid you wouldn't know me. Afraid you wouldn't want me. I'm not the brother you remember. Elias reads each word, the truth hitting him like physical blows. 20 years. 20 years of thinking Silas was dead, of carrying that guilt, that loss. And all that time, Silas was alive, suffering, trying to get home. Lightning flashes, illuminating both their faces older, scarred by time and trauma, but undeniably brothers, undeniably family. I looked for you, Elias says, voice breaking. After the fire, they said. The bones they found, they said it was you. I believed them. God help me, I believed them, and I stopped looking. Silas reaches across the table and takes Elias's hand in his scarred one. Squeezes. No blame in his eyes, just relief. Just love. The storm rages outside, but inside the small kitchen, two brothers sit in silence, hands clasped, 20 years of separation crumbling like walls made of sand. There's so much to say, so much to understand, but for now, this is enough. This proof of life, of connection unbroken by time or distance or suffering. Silas writes one more thing. Never stopped believing I'd find you. You were the only thing that kept me alive. That breaks something in Elias. The tears come then. 20 years worth. As the thunder crashes and the rain pounds the roof. He grips Silas's hand like a lifeline, like he should have that night so long ago, and weeps for all they've lost and all they've found. Reckoning and redemption. The storm passes by morning, leaving the world washed clean and new. Elias wakes to find Silas already up, standing on the porch, watching the sunrise paint the desert in shades of gold and pink. He moved to stand beside his brother, and they watched the new day dawn together. There's work to be done. There always is on a Kaya ranch, but it feels different now. They moved together with renewed purpose, that old synchronicity fully restored. Where before there was hesitation, now there's certainty. This is Silas. This is his brother. The how and why matter less than the simple fact of his presence. Over the next days, more of the story emerges through Silas's painstaking writing. Names of places he was held, illegal mining operations that used forced labor, moving frequently to avoid law. Names of men who hurt him. Names of those who helped a Mexican family who hid him after his escape. A traveling preacher who pointed him toward Arizona, and a Navajo trader who recognized his pain and shared food without asking questions. Elias reads it all, rage building with each revelation. His little brother 10 minutes younger, but still little subjected to horrors he can barely imagine. The crushed throat was punishment for trying to tell someone his real name, trying to get word to his family. After that, they moved him to the deepest parts of the mines, where no one could hear even if he could scream. I'll find them, Elias says one evening, his voice deadly quiet. Every last one of them. Silas shakes his head and writes, done. With hate, just want peace, just want home. But the world has other plans. It's been 2 weeks since Silas's arrival when they see the dust cloud on the horizon. Riders are approaching, moving fast and purposefully. Elias and Silas exchange looks, both reaching for weapons without words needed. 3 men arrive, hard-faced and travel-worn. Their leader, scarred and cold-eyed, doesn't bother with pleasantries. Looking for someone, he says. Run away from. Up north, mute, scarred hands might have come this way. Elias steps forward, rifle casual but ready. No runaways here. Just me and my brother. The man's eyes narrow, studying Silas with recognition dawning. Your brother, huh? Funny thing, the man we're looking for would be about his age, about his height, same color eyes. Lots of men fit that description, Elias says evenly. My brother's been here all his life. Born here, raised here. Never been north of the county line. Is that so? The leader dismounts, hand resting on his gun. Mind if he proves it? Let's hear him say his name. Silas stands steady, no fear in his posture despite the danger. He's not the same scared boy who was taken 20 years ago. He survived hell and come out the other side. He opens his mouth and with tremendous effort forces out a sound barely a whisper, broken and painful but clear enough. Silas ... Crowe. The leader's face darkens. Well, now that's interesting. See, the man we're looking for can't speak. Had his throat crushed for lying about who he was. My brother had a childhood accident, Elias lies smoothly. Damaged his voice. But he's been working on getting it back. Haven't you, Silas? Silas nods, manages another painful rasp. Yes, the tension stretches taut as wire. The other two men shift nervously, hands moving toward weapons. They're outnumbered 3 against 2, but something about the Crowe brothers gives them pause. The way they move in perfect synchronization, the deadly calm in Elias's voice, the fact that Silas shows no fear despite knowing exactly who these men are. "I think," the leader says slowly, "we need to take your brother in for questioning, just to be sure." "I think," Elias responds, "you need to get off my land." "Now, no need for trouble." "There wasn't," Elias cuts him off. "Until you rode up here threatening my family. See, 20 years ago, I lost my brother, thought he died in a fire. Grieved him every day since. Then a miracle happened, he found his way home. Imagine how grateful I am. Imagine how protective I feel. Imagine what I'd do to anyone who tried to take him again." His voice never rises, but the threat is clear as day. The leader looks between the brothers, calculating odds. In a straight fight, maybe they win, but at what cost? And there's something else, the way Silas looks at him. Recognition and defiance mixed. He knows if they take Silas, he'll find a way to escape again. And next time, he might not run. Next time, he might come looking for revenge. "Could be we're mistaken," the leader says finally. "Could be the man we're looking for headed west instead of south." "Could be," Elias agrees. "But if we find out different... you won't." They lock eyes for a long moment. Then the leader nods to his men and they mount up. But before they go, he has one last word. "That runaway cost us a lot of money. Someone's going to pay for that loss." "Someone already did," Elias says quietly. 20 years worth. Now get out, and don't come back." They ride off, but both brothers know this isn't over. Men like that don't give up easily. They'll need to be ready. That night, as they clean and check weapons, Silas writes, "I'm sorry, brought trouble to your door." "Our door," Elias corrects. "This is your home too. Always was, even when you were gone." Silas looks around the small house, and Elias sees it through his eyes, sparse, functional, built for one. "But that can change." "We'll change. We'll add on," Elias says. "Build it bigger, make it a real home again." Silas smiles, the first real smile Elias has seen from him. It transforms his face, erasing years of pain, revealing the boy Elias remembers. Over the following weeks, they do just that. Working together, they expand the house, adding a second bedroom and enlarging the kitchen. The work is hard but satisfying. Building something new while honoring what came before. And Silas's voice slowly returns. Not fully, it may never be what it was, but enough. Enough to say good morning. Enough to call for help. Enough to laugh, rusty and painful at first, but genuine. The first time Elias hears that laugh, he has to turn away to hide his tears. It's been 20 years since he heard that sound. He'd forgotten how much he missed it. Word spreads, as word does in the West. The silent cowboy has a brother. Twins, separated by tragedy, reunited by determination. Some say it's a miracle. Others are more skeptical. But when they see the brothers together, the doubts fade. The resemblance is too strong, the connection too obvious. A few men come sniffing around, asking questions about mineral rights, about workers, and about things that dance around the truth without stating it. Elias runs them off, and they don't come back. Maybe word gets back to whoever was running those illegal operations. Maybe they decide the Crowe brothers are more trouble than they're worth. Or maybe they're just biding their time. But for now, there's peace. One evening, as autumn turns the desert gold and crimson, the brothers sit on their expanded porch. 2 chairs now, 2 cups of coffee, 2 rifles within reach. The photograph from the mantel has been joined by new ones, the brothers as they are now, older and scarred, but together. "Was it worth it?" Elias asks suddenly. "Everything you went through to get here?" Silas is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is still rough but growing stronger. Every day in that hell, I thought of you. Of home. They could take everything else, my voice, my freedom, my name, but they couldn't take that. You want to know if it was worth it? He gestures at the ranch, at the two of them sitting together as the sun sets. Look around, Eli. Look what I got back. Elias nods, throat tight with emotion. Besides, Silas continues with a ghost of his old mischievous grin, I'm still 10 minutes older. Someone had to come back and keep you in line. Elias laughs really. Laughs for the first time in 20 years. The sound echoes across the desert, mixing with Silas's own rusty chuckle. Two brothers, no longer broken halves but whole again, facing whatever comes next together. In the distance, a coyote calls to its pack and others answer. The sound echoes across the desert, family finding family. Voices raised in recognition and belonging. The sun sets in a blaze of glory, painting the sky in shades of fire. But this time, the fire brings no fear, no loss. This time, it only illuminates what's been found. On the Crowe Ranch, two brothers watch the stars emerge, each point of light, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope endures. They've learned that some bonds can't be broken by distance or time or human cruelty. They've learned that home isn't just a place, but the people who refuse to let you go. They've learned that sometimes, against all odds, what's lost can be found. Again, the night is warm, the future uncertain but no longer faced alone. And in the vast expanse of the Old West, where men are measured by their courage and their loyalty, Elias and Silas Crowe have proven that love is the strongest force of all. Strong enough to survive 20 years of separation. Strong enough to bring a man home against impossible odds. Strong enough to rebuild what was broken. Strong enough to last forever. The